All right, so how to get into the industry, entertainment industry, in the video games, animation, movies. Um, there's really, I've talked to many, probably hundreds of students in my couple years that I've been teaching and mentoring, and usually, you'll find that, most artists say, have a good portfolio, network, post stuff on social media so people can actually know about you and find you. Have a portfolio online and send emails, reach out to clients. But I was thinking the other day, that's a very yeah, all those things are true, right? But maybe there are some other things that maybe are done more in the back end type of things, or maybe have a different mentality to go about them, or maybe have a more strategic way to do it. And to be honest, at the end of the day, there isn't really a one way to get a job in the industry. I could tell you so many stories about crazy things that you would never expect on how people got jobs, or how I got jobs. I've gotten so many jobs in the most unconventional ways that you probably haven't even heard of. Um, and I can tell you, for example, in my case, there's probably have been maybe one, maybe two, if I'm missing or forgetting one job that I've gotten with the traditional going to the website, applying to it, and doing all that process. Just one job in my whole career, right? But I was thinking, and maybe I can give you some other options of ways to think about it. More of a mentality thing about how maybe you can maybe stepping into the industry, or even getting just more jobs in the industry, especially if you're a freelancer, right? Now, I think first and foremost, and I will always say this, is that quality is king, right? Quality will always um, be the forefront of an art director or a company sort of considering you for the job, right? You need to have a certain amount of quality. You don't need to be the best, but you need to reach a certain level of quality for the work that you're doing in order for them to consider you, right? So that will be always the the first step. Now, um, what I would say first is that you have to serve a market, right? All this is a business. Like we are pretty fortunate to do or to work in our passion, right, and get paid for it. But we have to also see it sort of as a market, like any other market in the marketplace, right? And so you have to put on your portfolio, you have to put things that serve the company that you want to work for, right? And I'm gonna be honest, if you go to ArtStation or social media, a lot of the times the artwork that you see there is probably the tip of the iceberg. It's like 25% of what you actually get to do inside a studio. And so, when I first started working at Wizards, it was crazy for me, the amount of work that we were doing in the back end, doing a concept push or anything like that. And it's really most of the time just solving problems. It's not really about making pretty pictures and all that. Sometimes I will make a pretty cool image that looks pretty cool, but it didn't serve the purpose and it didn't solve any issues, or it didn't solve the product that we were making at the time. And so you could make something that maybe doesn't look as aesthetically um, beautiful image, well rendered, beautiful lighting. Um, Maybe it doesn't have that, but maybe it solves a design issue. And so that is very extremely important, especially if you're in the concept art world. If you're an illustrator, it's a little bit different. But for the concept art, we need to solve those design issues. And in concept art, it's not always how well you render. It's how much fog you put in an image, or how much dynamic lighting you do. It's really about solving that problem, and usually it's just a design problem. But so how do you know which type of artwork you need to do, right? So I will probably do some research, Google and stuff like that, and find Pinterest, and find artwork that shows off like production like artwork, drawings of showing off the design, orthographics, three-quarter views, call outs of props and places in the environments. And yes, of course, you can have like all the establishing shots and the cinematic sort of images and all that, which is well received, and sort of like gets you that interest in the project. But that should probably be around 25-30% of it. The rest should be design, problem solving issues and drawings of whatever the project is, right? And so I will structure it in that way, to show off that you can actually solve those design issues, right? Now, tip number 2, it will be know your place, right? So, sorry, I have 2 dogs right now here in this room, and one of them has a cone, so she's like hitting everything. But know your place. Understand that depending on the artwork that you're making, right, the more niche your artwork is, the pool of clients gets smaller and smaller, right? So one thing that I've seen quite a lot is not understanding that sense of having that product and having such a unique product and expecting clients to come to you because of what you're doing. Most of the time, clients will hire you for what they are doing, not for what you're doing. It's very rare that you find a client that says, oh, we want to create something around what you are doing as an artist. That's really rare. It has happened before, but it's really rare. And so if you want to increase your chances on getting a bigger pool of clients and getting more opportunities, you may have to broaden and be more of a general artist for the things that are usually around in the market right now. Now that could vary from you will see a huge range of things from stylized to super realistic, fantasy, sci-fi, all that stuff, right? But understanding that puts you in a good mindset of what to expect with the artwork that you're doing, right? And one practical exercise that I do is I will grab my best 3-5 pieces that I've done, and I'll put them right next to the companies that I want to work with, whether it's Blizzard, Riot, Sony, whatever, or the projects, right, like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or whatever the case. And I will put them right next to the project pieces of artwork, and I will see if they actually match with each other or if they could belong to each other. And so if that doesn't happen, then I need to identify what are the things that I'm missing in terms of the design, or maybe it's just the way I'm rendering things, or maybe it's just the style of it. And so once I identify those things, then I can deal with the problem and solve that, and then do that exercise again, right? So to me, it's very important to compare what I'm doing with what the market is doing, and that way I can sort of see where I'm at in terms of the expense, to see if I should, if I could get a job or not. Now, matching the style or the quality of work to a company doesn't mean that they will hire you. There's other factors, but that's the one factor that you can actually control. And so if we can control that, then we should put our effort in it. Other things that we cannot control is the timing, the needs of the company. Maybe they don't need an artist like you at that specific moment, so they just won't hire you, right? And so there are other factors that you cannot really have control over in this whole getting higher situation, right? And so lastly, it is choose your path, right? And this usually happens with especially like super beginning, aspiring artists. They're sort of a little bit more scattered around in terms of like what they want to do, because they don't know, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. That's why we started this whole journey. But I think we have to be super specific and intentional about which role we want to fill in, because clarity is power, and the more clear your goal is, the easier it is for you to achieve it. And so the way I put it is that if you haven't landed that consistent work with your art, whether it's a full-time studio or as a freelancer, you have to be a little bit more specific with that particular role. You guys have probably heard, oh, I would do anything in the industry. Well, that doesn't really mean much, doesn't really help anybody, right? And so we have to be super specific and clear about what that goal is, and then tackle that, and do everything that we do based on that goal as specific, right? And so I wanted to share this with you because these are the things that I do normally that has helped me in my career in the industry for the years that I've done it. I think sometimes, well, I personally think that we have to look at this as a very strategic approach to enter the industry. And so we have to plan for it, and we have to take the right steps in order to do it, instead of navigating with the wave of it. And I like to be personally more strategic about it. And so I wanted to share this with you. I hope that this helps you in any way. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know.